think the NFL needs to do something about how much they're fining Tyreek Hill and how much they're penalizing Tyreek Hill and how much this guy's getting hit in the pocketbook for bringing nothing but joy and fun to the game of football. This man is so electrifying, especially with a little sprinkle of Kevin Harlan in there. But every single time this guy continues to top himself, we have not seen a celebrator like this probably since the likes of like Chad Ochocinco. This man today, like a genius, scores this touchdown, grabs a cell phone, does a backflip. It gets tweeted out, and the NFL is going to have a problem with this. They got to delete it. They got to get rid of it. They got to eradicate the evidence. And it's going to be shown a gazillion times to promote this game, to show how fun it is, to enjoy the celebrations. It was top-notch by Cheetah, and I'm just sick of them hitting him in the pocketbooks for the peace sign and the socks and all of this nonsense. And I know he said afterwards today, he's like, hey, man, I don't play this for money. I play this for the passion. I don't care about it. It's worth it. And I'm glad that he's taking that attitude, but like, it's a little ridiculous, okay? Cheetah needs a pass on some of this stuff. It is not unsportsmanlike. If he can take a cell phone and do a backflip and videotape it, sorry, there's not a lot of people in the world that can do that. You're just going to have to eat it, Carolina Panthers, and that's just what it is. I don't know if anybody cares. Does anybody truly find this unsportsmanlike in any way, shape, or form? Crazy to me, man. But anyway, your Miami Dolphins, they handle the Carolina Panthers today 42-21, and had to face a little bit of adversity. Biggest deficit that they had to face to start a game this season, where Carolina comes in here 0-5. Everyone's overlooking them. Myself included. And you're wondering, hey, Bryce Young, he's coming into a hostile, hot environment. But they played loose. I mean, they came out of the gates. The Dolphins had a great first stand. They forced a 3-and-out. Bradley Chubb had a big time sack. You're like, all right, let's get this thing going. Fins then go 3-and-out to go to respond to that. So you're like, all right, another typical fast start, but no big deal. And then the Panthers, man, I mean, they gave Fangs in this defense the business, and I think every Dolphin fan was just like I don't think anybody lost faith early on, but you're just like, oh man, is football happening right now? Because look, we look around this league typically week to week, and you're like, football's going to happen. And the Panthers, I don't think the Panthers are embarrassing 0-5, now 0-6. I know it's a crazy thing to say, but they got some vets and Adam Thielen and Chuba Hubbard, and they got some nice playmakers. And I honestly, I think Mike McDaniel's right about this Bryce Young. I think this dude's going to be a baller. I think that he's got a nice release. I think you can see the talent that he has in distributing the football. You give him some real playmakers all around there. I think that guy can be dangerous. But they come right after the Dolphins, and it just goes all badly for the Dolphins earlier in this first quarter, dude. Like, Bryce Young puts them up 7-0. He's hooking up with Thielen and Hubbard, and they have a couple of huge gains to get them up a touchdown. Then the Dolphins get it back, and they have like the ultimate, like, you knew like Trent Green. I knew the words Trent Green was going to say as soon as it happened. He was going to go, too cute. Because Trent Green doesn't like cute things. Trent Green wants his meat and potatoes. He wants his QB to line up there and sneak it. He doesn't want any razzle-dazzle where you're going to try and flip it open to Raheem Mostert, who definitely would have scored a touchdown if Tua could have gotten it on the mark there. But instead, he throws it behind Mostert. The Dolphins have to punt again. Carolina then just gashes the Dolphins. I mean, they can't stop the run to save their lives. And you just think to yourself, all right, not a great start, down 14-0, not fantastic, but you get the ball back. You get one play before the end of the first quarter, and what do you know? What's the elixir to all things? When all things are going wrong, what do? You find the cheetah, all right? Your day's not going so good, find the cheetah. Not feeling so well, find the cheetah. Your offense is in a little bit of a lull, you find the cheetah. And eventually, good things will happen. And so they start getting a little mojo going. Tua then takes a shot to start the second half, and a ball. It's a little short. Waddle could have maybe pulled it down, whatever. All right. So you're like, all right, maybe this could be one of these days things aren't going for him. And then, things start picking up for the Dolphins. They start, distributing the football all over the place. Raheem gets going. You get a nice first down dime to Tua to Berrios. Tua getting Cheetah and Waddle involved, and eventually you get down to this thing, and it's a beautiful. They send Durham Smythe the motion, bang, he opens things up for Raheem Mostert, touchdown, right? And then Panthers get the ball back, and you have Bryce Young airmailing a ball, and then you're like, all right, here comes the punt, fake punt, and Elijah Campbell sniffs it out. Now, it was close. This took like a lot of review, and they had to go. Frank Reich's beside himself. He's pissed. Bring out the chain, just short. And this was really the turning point of the game. I mean, it was from this point on, everything went bad for the Panthers and the Dolphins. They got a monster run from Raheem Mostert, just running like an absolute monster. And the guy just continues to really impress. At his age and his, the journey that he's had to look, you look at this for Raheem Mostert, right? Like the game is back in your hands. Everything is you. It's just you. You're RB1, no Achane here. Who can rely upon? You can rely on Raheem Mostert, and he's going to be there to provide for you. And that's what he did today. He was an absolute beast. 3 touchdowns on the day today. Raheem Mostert, 17 carries, 115 yards. He had the 49-yard run that I'm talking about right now. 2 touchdowns on the ground, 1 receiving. Just a tremendous game from Raheem Mostert to get this thing going. And, then it really picks up for the defense. You get a big play by Christian Wilkins, get a big stop from him. And Xavier Howard, and they were talking a little bit on the broadcast about Christian Wilkins and talking about Rusty Fangs, and he had that break in the midst of camp that had a little effect on him. And today, Christian Wilkins, starting to get some things going. He had a couple of sacks. It was morphin time. Him and Zach Sealer getting there together, and I think you're just noticing it from Christian Wilkins. Today it was. What was it? Five tackles today, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Just an absolute great performance from him. And the defense just really turned the Jets on after that point. Like they were in such a better spot after really just, I don't know, they just pooped the bed out of the gate in this one. And so about 5 minutes left in the first half. You have a great play from Tua to Waddle. They get a first down, and then what happens? The best, the most exciting play in sports, dude. Tua to Tyreek Hill, touchdown, and the Dolphins now find themselves on top in the game to get themselves on top, and they never really looked back from there. Once they got to this point, it was all them, all the time, and it was a beautiful thing, man. To get themselves in this position, and this connection, man, it's a beautiful thing. You see that, and you see the cheetah break loose, and you're just like, oh, here it comes. It just makes you delighted, man. And so he gets the 41-yard touchdown, does the backflip. The NFL tweets it, deletes it. Yeah, the Dolphins are in a good spot. They end up missing a field goal right before it, so Dolphins are up a score going into this thing, and Panthers were getting a little mad at Christian Wilkins because a little extracurriculars on Bryce Young. Whatever, dude. They were from this point on just a machine, and there's an interesting play here, and this is how you know the Cheetah's a wild man, because he hits this play, and Tua hits it to Tyreek Hill, and he keeps himself upright, but then starts going to the sidelines. Could have maybe gone for more, but you could see something's bothering him, right? And apparently, as he's saying, he says the calf started saying, And Tyreek Hill, mind you, Tyreek Hill tells Whopper, so I don't know, believe what you want to believe as far as number, but he had said that he had taken 6 IV bags to throughout this game. And that's insane. It's insane, like how this guy keeps refueling himself in these games and what he's able to do. But as Tyreek Hill is going off to the locker room and he gets the Dolphins in great position, Tua, he hands it off to Mostert, and the Dolphins are in for the touchdown. And they're up 2 scores at this point. It's 4 unanswered touchdowns. And, they just got it going. The pressure's on the Panthers at this point. They forced it a turnover on downs. Dolphins get it back from there on out. And you had just Tyreek Hill back from the IV. Tua connects with him for a 24-yard pass. He's already over 150 yards. His numbers are crazy. And then, it's just every time he's just had all day to find him. And you got to just give it up for this offensive line. They did a tremendous job. Eichenberg in there today. Got to give it up for Eichenberg. I'm sitting here, I talk all this shit about them, and they were great today. Tua had a ton of time. I don't think he was sacked today. Let me double check here. Nope. Tua was not sacked today. He finished his day 21 of 31, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Tyreek Hill's final count was 6 catches, 163 yards with the TD, and was just great. He was fantastic today. He got in the end zone. Jalen Waddle, who still hasn't had like that explosive game, but was efficient today. Got another touchdown for the second straight game, so we got the Waddle going, which always makes everybody happy. And after the Dolphins got up at that point, they were up 31-14. It was all she wrote. They put Mike White in the game. Mike White, I don't know what people got some of this game out of number wise. I think Friday was 13.5 or it was all Thursday. So when we did our picks for the show, it was 13.5. I know because that was what Marcos had it at. But I think when we were doing the pregame show today, I think it was up to 14.5. So there had to be some Dolph fans who did, think the Dolphins would squash the Panthers, sweating that one a little bit as he threw that pick six. Second straight game with a pick six for the Miami Dolphins. Well, this time it was Mike White. And they ended up being able to get another touchdown thanks to Savon Ahmed getting a touchdown run. But I'm sure some gamblers were sweating that one out there for a little bit. And there you go, man. So I think long and short of this game, I think the best thing that you got from the Miami Dolphins out of this one was they got hit with, what's the thing the coach always said? Adversity is an opportunity. Ton of adversity to start this game. Nothing went right. Basically didn't have a first quarter offensively. It was all owned by the Carolina Panthers. You powered through that. You got through that. And, your stars stepped up in a big way. Tua finding Tyreek Hill as the catalyst. Raheem Mostert with more of the game back in his control with no Devon Achane out there. He was great. Defense really bared down after a really rotten start from them. And as far as Tua was concerned, Tua talked about the turnovers and all that stuff, and didn't have that as an issue today. No picks from Tua Tagovailoa, and the Miami Dolphins were able to get themselves a nice win against a bad team, but I think a bright quarterback. And I will say I like the fact that Tua gives the words to Bryce Young. I think that Bryce Young looks like he's going to be a good player. I do not think that guy is a bum. I think that he looks, as Mike McDaniel said, I think he looks like a baller. And I thought it was cool because I think Tua can be in a weird, can be this poster child for the early career adversity. Everybody always goes to, Troy Aikman was this, Peyton Manning was this. Let's get one of our generation. And it's like, hey, Tua had his career tried to be sabotaged by his head coach and owner. And look where he is now. He's one of the faces of the league. So I think that Bryce Young can definitely look at Tua and say, hey, that's a guy I can look to some inspiration for. I've already looked to inspiration for him because he's part of the reason I want to go to Alabama. And now I can know that things will probably get better for the Carolina Panthers. Obviously sets up a monster matchup coming up next week on Sunday Night Football. I'm recording this as right now the Eagles are up on the Jets 7-0. The lone undefeated team left. So if let's say the Eagles I don't want to jinx anything, but let's say, I guess I'm not. Let's say the Eagles are able to hold off the Jets today. I don't think it's a huge assumption. Let's just say they're able to hold off the Jets today. The Dolphins could have an opportunity next week on Sunday Night Football to let Zonk and the boys pop the champagne. So it is obviously got a bigger stakes than that. The Dolphins are looking for a big time win on Sunday Night Football, but could have a little extra historical juice to it as well. So fun win today after stumbling out of the blocks, but they did what they do, man. This offense is overwhelming, and they overwhelmed.